Hi everyone, welcome to my channel and welcome to this video where I'm going to be talking about suffering. And I want to talk about it because I feel that suffering actually is so hyped. And yeah, it's so painful because we are programmed to see it as something painful, and this is for all humans all across. We're all programmed in such a way that we actually look at our suffering as our enemy. But actually, suffering can be your path to eternal bliss, also wisdom, knowledge, joy, happiness, and most importantly, living in the present moment, which is the only place where you can actually not suffer. So let's find out, let's dive deep into it. In simple words, suffering happens when we don't get what we want, or we get something which we don't like, we are not even expecting it. Sometimes it can happen that way also. And whatever response or whatever reaction we feel upon whatever we experience is so bad that we just feel horrible at that point in time. So you see, there are two places where usually the judgment happens, and this judgment is the very reason why we feel miserable. Number one is judging yourself, judging you. So someone judges you and you feel horrible about it, and you judge someone else, judging other or others. Okay, so let's say you're associated with somebody and you judge them. You feel that they're not up to the mark, they're negative, they are not good enough for you, or they treat you badly. It makes you suffer because you have a correlation, you are correlated with that person. Your connection with this person is formed in such a way that when they are also not nice to you, or when they don't do stuff that you want them to do, or they're generally just treating you badly, it hurts you. And of course, number one is yourself, because whatever they say to you, whatever they tell you about you, you don't like it, and therefore you react. Now, I'm not saying that you should not do that. If someone hurts you, or someone is mean to you, someone is rude to you, you shouldn't say anything, you shouldn't feel bad. I mean, your pain, your feelings, your emotions are valid too. And this video is definitely not about running away from your suffering, because the reason why we continue to suffer is because we are running away from it. Because we are taught to see this as something bad, we do not notice, or we don't want to observe what is the actual reason that is making us feel this way, like the judgment of others and judgment of yourself. And actually, this judgment boils down to one thing, and that is criticism. You see, a lot of great masters and teachers talk about criticism. They always say that don't criticize yourself, but at the same time you'll see masters saying that work on your flaws. Working on your flaws means that you're trying to release that criticism that actually makes you feel horrible about who you are. Now, when you love someone, when you're in a relationship with someone, or generally it's a platonic connection, like most people who approach me for healing their relationships, their romantic relationships, actually this is a black heart. Actually, always without fail, this is my experience, years and years of experience in this work that I'm doing. Yeah, I don't look 80, I'm a vampire, guys. Years and years of experience into this, and every time I talk to someone, I already know it, I can predict it. They always have problems with their parents, they always have issues with their parents, or their parents have issue like within themselves issues. A lot of these kids who are now adults are pretty much aware about their situation, and many a times when they come to me for therapy or healing or counseling, they usually tell me, when I start talking to them and we go deep into it, conversation always starts with, my partner is like this, my husband is like this, my wife is like this. And then gradually, when I take them a bit more deeper, when I ask them, where is this feeling actually coming from? Can you tell me the first time you felt this way? Usually, it's connected with their childhood, always, mostly. And either it is connected with their parents, or they were in unprotected places, they were in unsafe places, and the parents had neglected them or left them alone over there, or something had happened. Their experience was such that they feel like, okay, my parents were not around, I was maybe in a boarding school, or maybe I was with a relative, and something bad happened to me. So I blame them for putting me in that place. Now, this is just an example, but usually when people are working on their romantic connections, they also have lots and lots of issues with their parents. There's a lot of narcissistic abuse that has happened, which needs to heal. And when people heal all of the narcissistic abuse patterns, not only they see a big change in how they communicate with their parents, even for those people whose parents are no longer around, like maybe a father is not there or a mother is not there, both are not there, they always feel very positive when they talk to them. They feel very positive and they feel very nice, and they forgive their parents for not being good enough. And they also thank the parents because they feel that whatever they're going through, that is dealing with their suffering and then literally attracting bliss. So the journey of from suffering to bliss, in between there can be lots and lots of issues. I'm telling you, there are people who are going to say a lot of things to you. I'm a healer, still people say a lot of things to me. And it's okay because I feel that they're giving me something to work on. You can be mad at people, you can be angry at people, and you can be sweet to people, you can be like extremely acknowledging to people. I'll tell you, every context is different, so I'm not going to judge you for that. Because I was just listening to my master who was telling us in the discourse that we must have compassion for the enemy as well, for our enemies as well. Some of the things that my master has told me, out of a whole lot of cool things, they have either aroused a question in my mind or trigger, and every time it resonates in that way, like there's a question or there's curiosity or there's a trigger, it always ends up into a beautiful revelation, and I'm so grateful to my master for it. Because once he said in a discourse to everyone actually, that you should literally have compassion for your enemy as well. As a Sanatani who has read Ramayana and the epic Mahabharata, you would be like, if that was the case, then why did Pandav kill Kauravas, or why did Ram kill Ravan? Now, if you actually go deeper into the study, you will realize that they did have compassion for them. Like Sri Ram had a lot of compassion for Ravan. It was predestined that Ravan has to die because of Ram, or because of whatever he does to Ram. Eventually he was inviting his death. He wanted also liberation and freedom from that role that he was playing. So his death, like all of our death, is actually sort of confirmed, but it had to happen in a certain way. But Lord Sri Ram had a lot of compassion for Ravan. He was very, very actually gentlemanly with him. He gave him many opportunities, he gave him many chances, and he kept telling him that, look, you can still change, you can still change, you can still change, etc., etc., or you can still surrender to source. He did surrender, but he surrendered in the last moment when he was sort of leaving his body. Same thing happened with Pandavas. Pandavas had a lot of compassion for Kauravas. In fact, they had so much forgiveness that Lord Krishna had to intervene and tell everyone that, look, you have to wage a war on these people. You have to do this because that's the only way. It's pre-written, it's predestined, and you need to set an example, because being your brothers, whatever they've done to you, you may be forgiving them, but you need to also do the right thing. So compassion is very much required, and then you take whatever steps towards your enemy or towards your friends or whosoever it is, it will never be a baggage on your soul or on your heart. Whatever you do, then you will do it under God's guidance. It will be all divine orchestration, but then you have to be like really literally surrendered for it, because your mind, ego can play a lot of games, and ego can make you feel like, oh yeah, you are a kind-hearted soul who's doing this, or ego can make you question, so what's your benefit in this, or what are you getting out of all of this. Suffering happens because of your desire not getting what you want. Basically, your desire is whatever it is, like people are manifesting stuff, you don't get it the way you want it, and then this feeling itself leads to judgment of self and others. But then how do you convert this suffering into bliss? Is by literally understanding. To understand why. You have to understand, and since you're doing inner work, I don't think I need to share so much here, because most of you people would know what I'm talking about if you have learned to go within. Once you understand why, what's the reason behind it, what's the part that is broken, what's the part that's wounded, What's the part that needs to be fixed? And in many cases, you will be told you don't need to fix anything. Whatever is there in front of you is fine, right? But then, even for that, you need to have literally a practical experience. You need to go through an understanding. You need to go through a lot of stuff here, which may look like lot, acceptance, acknowledgement, letting go. Acceptance can also change situation for you. Let's say you want somebody very badly and you accept the situation that you can't get this person, for example, or for whatever reason it was never meant to be for you. Maybe this person was there to just teach you some lessons and you learn the lessons. When you let it go, maybe you attract an even better person in your life, a more loving person, a more kind person, or let's not say kind, loving, whatever, but a person who was predestined to be with you. So whatever you witnessed or whatever you experienced happened because you had to reach to some person, and for that experience to happen, in between you had to have this desire which was not fulfilled, which was unrequited desire, unrequited love, as they say. And this is just an example, guys. This can happen with career also. I've seen it happen with a lot of people who wanted a job, okay? They wanted something to work out for them in their career, and it didn't work out. They tried a lot. They, ran around a lot. They gave a lot of interviews. They met a lot of people. I mean, they put all of their mental energy, all of their, thinking, whatever it was, into it. If someone would say, move to another city, they would do that. If someone would say befriend this person, they would do that. And yet in the end, things didn't work out for them, and maybe things also took a bad turn for them, a very negative turn. But then that eventually led them to be very grateful. Let's say they were looking for this job and something even worse happened to them, and I literally know such people. I can give you one very good example. There's this friend of mine. My friend was always wanting a certain career, okay, but the career never worked out for her. The option was there in her mind, and by chance, I mean, it was obviously written, she met with a very bad accident, and that accident was literally life threatening. I mean, anything could have happened and she could have died. It was a horrible accident, okay. But then after the accident, she lost her hand. And the career option really requires you, it's a field of beauty, it requires you to be a certain way, and being fully abled is one of the biggest requirements, main requirement, like literally the bare minimum, okay. Other than that, okay, you need to be slim and trim, and you need to have a certain height, good looks, or whatever. So she was trying a lot, and then finally this happened, and probably she gave that dream her everything. If people say 100%, she gave much more than that, but it didn't work out for her. However, what she figured out, how she learned to be grateful, was because she had such a horrible accident and she was in such a place that she almost had a near-death experience, and she could see how she could have lost her life and she could have lost everything. So her surviving from that and her getting the medical treatment at the right time, and the infection was so bad that it could have actually been worse than what she experienced eventually. Now, for some people, this can be seen as a negative experience, but for her, it was not a negative experience. It was a life-changing, very positive and uplifting experience, because afterwards, she learned to work through things and she learned to live her life without one hand, and she's doing pretty fine. In fact, she realized that there's a lot of supernatural stuff that happens, there's a lot of intuition that happens, and there's a lot of things that we can do that we actually think we can't do. So that gave her a new sense of freedom, and the desire of the career is no longer her number one priority. In fact, she's a lot more grateful for lots and lots of things in her life. And she keeps talking about it to me, that look, this is what happened. This is so magical. That is so magical. Wow, this is interesting. So sometimes a lot of bad things can happen to people, but the bad things can be a window of opportunity to figure out the truth, which is bliss. If we understand why the desire is not getting fulfilled or why we are suffering. Let's say you love a person a lot, okay, and you always have great things to say about that person. but that person is always mean to you, rude to you, abusive towards you. Let's say if not always, 50% of the time this person is bad to you, and you're always like, why is this person bad to me if I'm always so nice to this person? But you need to understand why this person is doing this to you, and then it could be connected to your desire of getting some kind of outcome from this person. You want an outcome. Let's say you have a crush on someone, a big crush on someone, and the same person you have a big crush on comes and pushes you on the ground or slaps you hard, or tells you to go away or whatever, and they do it without even understanding, like they never knew how much you love them or how much of infatuation or liking you had for this person. Like this person maybe was so important for you, and because of that one horrible experience, your whole life you'll be scared to meet people or talk to people or even have a crush on someone. Okay, but if you understand why this happened in the first place, and for that you need to work on your wounds, you need to work on that very experience which put you in pain. And I'll tell you, I know people who've carried on their wounds for so long. They've had marriages, like double marriage, triple marriage, they've children, and even now they cannot figure out why they keep having the same problems over and over again. In fact, most people start doing inner work, and most people start doing their healing work or getting out from that matrix sort of thing that people talk about. I don't think we can get out of the matrix as such, but we can understand the matrix. Same thing, okay? So they keep going through it, and there comes a point in their life where they feel like, you know what, I can't do this anymore, because I can't keep going through the same feeling or experience over and over again, and let me just put a stop to it and let me do it the right way. Maybe they go to a lot of psychiatrists or psychologists, or they go to a lot of 3D people, or they do a lot of 3D things externally. They try to solve their problems, but it does not fix that way. So then comes this understanding part, which I think personally, this is my experience, it cannot happen externally, it can only happen internally. That's the time when you realize that your suffering has been given to you, it has been handed over to you, or let's say you chose it. Even in the Matrix movie, in the movie Matrix, when Neo goes to the oracle and says to the oracle or asks the oracle, like, you already know that I'm going to make a certain choice, right? When she offers him the candy, she says, it's not about you choosing it, because you were supposed to choose it. This was in your destiny. You were predestined to choose it. So it's not about what choice you make. Rather, it's about understanding why you made that choice. And once you do that, everything becomes more clear to you. So this is where I'm going to close this one. I'll see you in the next one for one-on-one sessions, for personal healing and therapy sessions. Check out the description box, because we have wonderful, cool therapies. You can also become my patron. You can get my book, In the Name of Love. The spelling of love is LUUV. It's a journey of finding your ultimate soulmate. The book is available only on Amazon Kindle, the latest edited version in the link that's given below. You can also buy the cool merchandise that I designed myself for you all. And there's more coming in. So, see you in the next one. One love, peace out, and victory to Ram.